What is going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be ranking every single ACC quarterback for the 2025 college football season from worst to best. I'm going to predict the starter for every single ACC team and rank every one of them. Now let's start off at the bottom of my rankings. All the way at number 17, I have Robbie Ashford for Wake Forest. Wake Forest is going to have a new offense in 2025 with a new year one head coach in Jake Dickert. They also lost multiple quarterbacks to eligibility, and Ashford will be that guy moving forward. Also, watch out for the Charlotte transfer to Sean Purdy. But regardless, I expect Wake Forest to have pretty mediocre quarterback play again. And I do have Robbie Ashford at number 17. At number 16, I have North Carolina true freshman quarterback Bryce Baker. Bill Belichick will be the new head coach, and they will also have a freshman quarterback in Bryce Baker. Baker is a 4-star recruit in the 2025 class. He's a very well-rounded player, and he could definitely start right away. Also, watch out for the Purdue transfer, Ryan Brown. But I do think Bryce Baker could win that job, and he's going to be working with a legendary head coach like Bill Belichick. That could be a boost to that North Carolina offense. I don't expect great things for Bryce Baker in year one, but I have him at 16. At number 15, I have Stanford quarterback Elijah Brown. Ashton Daniels recently transferred to Auburn, and they also lost Justin Lampson to Bowling Green. So Brown is probably going to be that starter. He was a highly coveted 4-star recruit out of the 2024 recruiting class. He was a top 200 prospect by 24/7 Sports, and he definitely has potential. He saw snaps in 3 games last year, throwing for 274 yards and 2 touchdowns on 28 completions. I think Elijah Brown could be good, but he still has a lot more to prove. I have him at number 15. At number 14, I have Boston College quarterback Grayson James. James did show some flashes last season. He became a starter for Boston College in November last year. He went 20 of 28 for 253 yards and 2 scores against Pitt. And he also threw for 300 yards against Nebraska, so he didn't play that bad. He will be working under Bill O'Brien as the starter for a full offseason. Grayson James should be a solid quarterback next year. I do have him at number 14. At number 13, I have NC State quarterback CJ Bailey. He is a rising star at quarterback in the ACC. He did show some big-time potential in 12 games last year. He completed 64% of his passes with 2,400 yards and 17 touchdowns. He was also a threat on the ground with 279 yards and 5 touchdowns. They will have a new offensive coordinator, though, so we'll see how his development does. I think he'll be good, but I think there's a lot of quarterbacks above him in the ACC. But definitely watch out for a guy like CJ Bailey heading into a sophomore season. He could be a great playmaker. But I do have him at number 13. At number 12, I have the quarterback for Syracuse, Ricky Collins. He's a transfer from LSU. And I think he'll be a good quarterback for Syracuse next season. He will have big shoes to fill after Syracuse lost Kyle McCord, but I think he will have a great system to work with. Syracuse does have offensive coordinator Jeff Nixon back and also Fran Brown at head coach. Ricky Collins was a highly coveted recruit out of high school as a 4-star. He has not attempted a lot of passes, but I expect him to be a good quarterback. He's not proven, but I trust him in that Syracuse system, and he's a highly coveted recruit. So I do have him at number 12. At number 11, I have Virginia quarterback Chandler Morris. He's a transfer from North Texas, and he went off at North Texas. Morris has a ton of experience. He played for Oklahoma, then TCU, and then North Texas. He had a crazy 2024 season, throwing for over 3,700 yards and 31 touchdowns, and he also ran for 240 yards in 12 games. He was one of the best passing quarterbacks in the nation last year, and I think he's going to be a solid quarterback for Virginia next year. And I do have him at number 11. At number 10, I have California quarterback Jaren Sagapolotele. I know he's only going to be a true freshman for California, but I expect him to be a very good quarterback. He is one of the top players in the 2025 recruiting class. And he also has another quarterback in that room to push him in Ohio State transfer Devin Brown. I think California will have good quarterback play regardless. Sagapolotele was originally committed to Oregon, but he flipped to California, and I expect him to be a huge positive for that California team next year. He has huge upside, and I think he's going to develop at a fast level for California. I have him at number 10. At number 9, I have Pitt quarterback Eli Holston. Eli Holstein had a great first year at Pitt, at least for a majority of the season. They had great comeback wins over Cincinnati and West Virginia. He was a transfer from Alabama who really helped elevate that Pitt offense. Pitt averaged 32.9 points a game, and Eli Holstein threw for 2,200 yards and 17 touchdowns, and he also ran for 328 yards and 3 scores on the ground, but injuries definitely slowed him down late in the season. But still, he had a great 2024 season, and he provided plenty of optimism for what's to come next season. I do think he could be one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC, but I do have him at number 9. At number 8, I have Florida State quarterback Thomas Castellanos. Castellanos really wasn't the best fit for Bill O'Brien's offense last year at Boston College, but he has a huge chance to rebound at Florida State. Thomas Castellanos is a talented, good dual-threat quarterback. He rushed for over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns in 2023, and I honestly think he's going to be an excellent fit in that Florida State offensive system with new offensive coordinator Gus Malzahn. I have big expectations for Thomas Castellanos. The only thing that concerns me is Florida State's offensive line and receiver room, but regardless, I think Thomas Castellanos will be a good quarterback. I have him at number 8. At number 7, I have Virginia Tech quarterback Kyron Jones. This is a huge positive for Virginia Tech to have Kyron Jones back after a pretty disappointing 2024 season. Virginia Tech had a strong finish to the 2023 season, and a lot of the reason was because of a guy like Kyron Jones, but injuries did limit him to only 9 games last year, and it really prevented him from a complete breakout season. But Virginia Tech has some pieces returning, and Kyron Jones back at quarterback is huge. Don't be surprised if he finally breaks out and has a big year. I do have him at number 7. I think he'll be one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC. The ACC has some really great quarterbacks heading into next year, and at number 6, I have the transfer from Tulane, and that quarterback is Darian Mensah from Duke. Mensah was one of the better transfer portal quarterbacks for 2025. He started 13 games for Tulane last season, and he guided them to an American Conference title game, and he threw for 2,700 yards and 22 touchdowns. And he also ran for 132 yards on the ground. He has a great deep ball, and he's pretty accurate as well. He averaged 9.5 yards per attempt passing the ball last year, and that actually tied 3rd in the country last year among FBS quarterbacks. I think he's going to be a good quarterback and probably an upgrade from Malik Murphy last year. I think he'll be a great fit for that Duke offense, and I have him at number 6. I have Kevin Jennings at number 5. He had a breakout season last year and really helped elevate that SMU offense after a slow 2024 start. He emerged as one of the top ACC quarterbacks, showcasing his dual threat abilities. He averaged 257 yards a game. He led the ACC in QBR rating, and he ranked 3rd in completion rate at 67.2 in conference games last year. Kevin Jennings is just an all-around solid quarterback. I do have some questions about his ability to perform on the big stages against good defenses. SMU did have a bit of a weak schedule last year, so I think people were hyping up Kevin Jennings a bit too much. But regardless, he is one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC returning. I do have him at number 5. At number 4, I have Louisville transfer portal quarterback Miller Moss. I expect big things from him in 2025. Louisville has had some decent success at quarterback with Jack Plummer and Tyler Shuck, but I think Miller Moss is their best transfer portal pickup so far. And I think he'll be the best quarterback they've had since Lamar Jackson, but definitely not on the same level. But I do really like this Louisville team. Jeff Brom is always working in the portal, and last year they had solid offensive upside, and I think Miller Moss will be an upgrade at quarterback for them. Miller Moss has really showed some good things in his career, and last year he passed for 2,555 passing yards and 18 touchdowns. He has some areas to work on, but he's an all-around solid quarterback. I think he'll be one of the top quarterbacks in the ACC next year. I have him at number 4. At number 3, I have Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King. This is a guy to watch out for. He could break out next season. He struggled with injuries last season, but I don't see many quarterbacks playing with the grit that Haynes King does. He threw for 2,100 yards and 14 touchdowns, and he also added 600 yards and 11 scores on the ground. Those numbers were a bit down from 2023, but he will be fully healthy, and I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. I think he's very underrated, and I expect him to have a big season next year. I think Georgia Tech is a sleeper in general. They add Eric Rivers, a 1,000-plus yard receiver from FIU. I expect them to have a very good rushing attack again, and I think Haynes King will be one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the nation. And I have him at number 3 in the ACC. At number 2, I have Miami quarterback Carson Beck. Everybody has been up and down on Carson Beck, but in my honest opinion, I think he went from being overrated to now underrated. He's being a bit disrespected. He took a step back last season and he threw a bunch of interceptions, but the SEC defenses are going to be a lot better than the ACC defenses he will be playing against next season. I expect Miami to have very good quarterback play again. Carson Beck will be a step back from Cam Ward, but he's still one of the better quarterbacks in the nation. And I do have Carson Beck at number 2. And lastly, at number 1, one of the best returning quarterbacks in the nation is Cade Klubnik for Clemson. And it's because he took a massive step forward in 2024. That offense for Clemson took a big step forward that nobody really expected. And he's returning for another 2025 season, and Clemson returns just about everybody. So Cade Klubnik's stock is going to go up even more. He's got elite young receivers to back him up. Last year, he threw for 3,600 yards and 36 touchdowns, and he really cut back on turnovers. He also ran for 460 yards and 7 scores on the ground. He's just an all-around good quarterback, and if he takes another step forward, he will be a very dangerous quarterback. I do think he's the best returning quarterback in the ACC, and I have him at number 1. But anyways, that's going to do it for my ACC quarterback rankings for 2025. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you disagree with and what would your rankings look like. But let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing. And also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.